Hey guys, and welcome to this introduction on how to mod Total War 3 Kingdoms. Before we get started, I'm just going to run through a few different tools that are used to mod, various tools that you'll probably find handy. First one is the assembly kit. You can find that in your Steam library tools and then Total War 3 Kingdoms assembly kit. You probably want to download that if you want to do any significant modding. Secondly, there are a bunch of pack files. This is where all the data is kept. And to open them and be able to mod them, edit them and read them, you want to have a file, programs, one of the two programs. One's called Pack File Manager, or PFM for short, and the other one is called RPFM. I can't have both. They have their different strengths and weaknesses. It's up to you which one you want to use, or if you want to use both as well. And with them you can open up these pack files. Next, for opening up various text files, you'll probably want to have I like to use Notepad++. And for scripting, I use Lua Edit. For some types of modding, you might need to use a hex editor as well, so that could come in handy. Something to create your images, like your thumbnail for your mod when you upload it to Steam Workshop, or if you want to edit any textures or UI, stuff like that. That's pretty obvious. If you want to edit a start pos, we'll get into what that is in a little bit. There's another program called ESF editor that you can use. And that's pretty much about it. Now I'm going to tell you where all the different files that you need. Well, if you want to mod them, that you'll need, where you can find them. And they're all, obviously, I just said they're all in these pack files, but let's go through which pack files have what. So all the database stuff such as how much damage a weapon does, how fast a unit runs, or yeah, whole heap of stuff. Different campaign AI, some battle mechanics, all this kind of stuff is all found in the database.pack in something called database, or DB for short. You'll hear people refer to the DB. And there's hundreds of tables here allow you to mod, and you can mod pretty much all of them. So just have a look through there. You might get inspired with different things to mod. And if you open them up, this is pretty much what they look like. Just a bunch of columns and rows, and you can just change the numbers in there. Don't change the numbers in the vanilla packs. When you're changing, you always make your own pack, and we'll do that later in this tutorial. So if you're not going to use the assembly kit, you can create your own pack by just going here and clicking new pack file, but we're not going to do that. Next, the start pos file. Start pos sets everything at the start of the campaign, that is which regions belong to which factions, how much money each faction starts with, what buildings are starting in which regions, and which characters, and how many units they have, and which units they have. All that kind of stuff is set in a file called a start pos file, and that is found in the data pack file under campaigns here, and there it is. You can't open that in RPFM. I believe you can in PFM, and you definitely can in ESF editor. So PFM and ESF editor allow you to open an existing start pos, or ESF file, that's what it's also called. Whereas the assembly kit, you don't open an existing one, but you can create a new one. You can change the underlying table, the reference tables data, such that it can and then compile a brand new start pos in that way. So it's different approaches to modding the same file. In this data pack, you also see there's also all the scripting stuff here. You've got animation stuff up there. You've got some UI and a bunch of other stuff for modding. Then you have anything to do with text. So the game's in multiple languages. I have English installed, so my text file is called local_en. And here you'll have a bunch of localization files, .loc, and they are pretty much just text. So if you say create a unit name, you will assign that unit name to a key, and then you'll write the actual text for English. And if someone else has Spanish, then you'll have a different localization for the Spanish, and that's how that works. Next we have anything to do with the units. It will be in the one of the two variants, or the models which go on the units are here in the models files. Variants or variant mesh definitions, how units are built in here, and they look like that. It's easier to just do this in the assembly kit directly, where it's actually visual. You can see the unit, you can see what you're adding to it. But if you want to do a lot of stuff really quickly, then sometimes you want to edit the variant mesh definition directly. Because you can copy and paste and do other stuff, but it's very good doing it in the assembly kit, and there's a lot of improvements with Total War 3 Kingdoms to the variant editor in assembly kit, which I won't go through in this tutorial because it's going to make it a bit too long. Alright, so there are the data, the files that you need for the game. If you want to reference them or extract, you can extract them. You can do that using Pack File Manager. Now, I like to extract when I start modding a game. I like to extract the database straight away. So what I'll do is I'll just come in, I'll right-click up here, and I'll say extract. Pick a location, not in the data folder. You create a brand new location somewhere else. And this is very helpful when it comes to updating your mod, because you can use a program like WinMerge or something which compares files, and then you can just compare the entire database from the previous version to the new version. You can see every single line that has been changed, and then that is hugely successful when it helpful when it comes to updating your mod. I have a tutorial on that, exactly how to do that with WinMerge. Feel free to have a look at that. Now let's get into the assembly kit. There's two ways to open this up. Either you're going to go in here to binaries. Well, before we open it up, I'll talk about how it's set up. So when you install it first, you see there's a whole bunch of stuff in here to do with this is reference stuff for the variant editor and some other stuff. So don't delete this stuff. Only delete stuff that you're going to add to it. Although you won't, it's a bit hard to tell. Now there are four main folders here. Binaries is where you're going to launch Tweak, Tweak contains the variant editor, which is where you make your units. Day, the database visual editor, which is like PFM or RPFM. And it also creates a battle map editor. And then Bob is what we use to compile our packs and actually put them into a pack file. So we're going to start up. So this is one way you can do it. You can open it this way with Tweak or Bob directly, or you can come up here and you can just right click and go Dave, database visual editor, battle map editor, or the variant editor for making units, and do it that way. And I think play game opens Bob. Alright, so here's if you opened it up the way through the folder, it opens up here, and then you jump in, for instance, the variant editor, and I'll open that up. Now while that's loading, we've got three other folders here, and this works in the way that, like so. Okay, so everything base game starts in raw data. If you make any changes to the database in the assembly kit, all your changes will be kept, oops, not here, in this file here called update commands. So you can go in there and you can see all the different changes that you've made over time. I've cleared it for this tutorial, so it's empty at the moment, but we can have a look later. Once you've made your changes in the assembly kit, you're going to click export binaries, at which time in working data there'll be a bunch of files will be put here for all the stuff that you've made changes to, all the tables you've made changes to. And finally, when we go to Bob and we build our pack file, it will end up right here in retail data. So that's what these three main folders do. Oh, and that one, of course. All right, so here we have the variant editor. Actually, while we're doing, and we've got Dave here as well. I'll use that later. So variant editor, I'm not going to go do a huge in-depth thing here. This is where you create units or you edit units. So you can, for instance, let's start with opening an existing definition. General bodyguard. There's a whole bunch of stuff here. Let's open these guys. And there you go. You can see the unit. You can come down here and you can add some stuff maybe. Maybe we can add some additional body, something to his shoulders. I don't know. All right, so all your assets are here. This is the variant mesh definition essentially that you're going to be modding. Male. Put a new helmet on him. That's easy. That's easy. Where's the helmet? This is melee weapon. Different skins. It doesn't matter which slot you put stuff in, by the way. You can put it in anything. So if I come in here, oh, there's a little bit of a hat on top. Obviously, it's overriding the rest of it. So you can play around with that. I'm not going to go into too much more detail on that. There's a whole bunch of other stuff here that you can do. You can, but I'm not. Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to. I'll go do another tutorial on various things you can do here. So let's get out of that. Let's discard it. I don't want to keep it. All right. Now we jump into Dave. So this is the database editor. Here's where you can make changes to the start pos, and you can also make changes to the database files. In this tutorial, we're going to just we're going to mod some overpowered projectile damage, and we can filter the tables up here. Oop, projectiles is where this particular thing will be. So we can open it just double clicking on it. And it looks like this. You've got another filter up here. So if we want to say just towers, we can get all the tower projectiles. And we can have a look here. These tower perimeter towers are the ones which do too much damage. And you can see here, look, they're doing 1,000 damage each. So what we're going to do, I'm going to change one of them here to 100. Alright, apply it, close. And the second one, I'm going to show you a new feature for this game. This assembly kit is you can actually open them in Excel. You can either click that button or right click here. You can also go down to the tower, which is here. Alright, and there's the other one. We'll turn that to 100 as well here. Save it. And then you come back to your Dave and you get a little pop-up and you say, yes, please. That didn't work. That worked before. Not sure why. Oh, okay, maybe it's... Failed validation. That's strange. Well, let us then try. I'll try with something else. Let's just see if this works. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. So let's open this in Excel. It does work for some tables. Alright, it's half that. This will change the battle distance, camera distance. Save it. Apply. And now it's worked. So it works for some tables, I guess it doesn't work for other tables for some reason. I'm not sure. So now we've made two changes to two different tables. I want to get that other one to 100 though as well. Okay, so it's 100 there, another one's 100. And we'll apply and close. Now we're going to go to export changes to binary. That happens really quickly, so it's pretty much done. And now we can check the working data, and you'll see there's a new folder here called database. Oh, now it's finished. And that will contain folders with our changes. Oh, this is something I did earlier. I'm going to get rid of that. Don't need that. Now we want to put these tables into a new pack file. So we're going to rename. First, you want to rename these. I'll get into why in shortly. So I'll call it Magna. Call it whatever you want. Doesn't have to have data in there at all. It just means that it won't overwrite. If you change the name, it means that it won't overwrite the vanilla table. It makes your mod more compatible. And there's another thing you're going to do once you've actually made the pack, which I'll get into in a sec. What's going on here? And do the same thing here. Done. Okay, now we're going to jump out, all the way out. We're going to go to binaries and run Bob, or you can come up here and right click and go play game. Does that not work? Or maybe I have to do Bob directly. Never mind, I'll just do Bob directly. Okay, so Bob will open up like this. Now all you have to do is click on here. No, that's not right, that's wrong. You want to click on your database and you want to go create pack file. Yep, that's it. Don't really want to have this, but we can't really change it. So we'll just, all this stuff, you don't want to delete it from that folder, that working data folder, because it's needed by the variant editor and some other stuff. So we're just going to have to delete it out of our mod pack once we've created it. So once we've done that, we can just click start. And if it's green, it means it created the mod pack. Alright, so now we're going to go to that retail data folder, and there is the mod. Call it whatever you want. I'm going to call it Magna tutorial. And we can even open it up and just check that what's in there. So if I open that up, we see all that stuff that's in working data is in here. Right. All the same folders, all the same folders. But we don't need all those folders. We only want to change those two database entries that we did. So we're going to delete all the other folders. Yep. And then you can save that. Go up here and save pack file or Control S. The last thing I want to do is also to do with compatibility. Now, when you compile the pack, your mod file using the assembly kit, it will take all the data from that entire table and put it in there, whether you've made changes to it or not. And that's perfectly fine in only one situation, and that is where you want to remove entries from it. If you're removing entries, then what you'd do is you'd actually keep the name of the table the same as vanilla, which would be data underscore underscore, and you could then delete rows and they would be out of the game. If we're only changing some values or adding rows, then that is completely unnecessary. So what we can do is we should be deleting everything that we didn't mod. So the only thing I modded in this table was the battle camera max distance from army, and everything else you can just select it there and then push the delete button. And we'll do the same here. We had only two values we edited, which were the two towers to 100. No, that's not the one. It's this one here. Yep. So everything else, select it. So you click the number there to select the whole row. Click and drag up. You can then delete that way, or just push the delete button on your keyboard, which is what I prefer to do. That's done. Now we can save that. The benefit to doing it this way is that if another mod edits this table but edits a different row, then both mods can be used together. And it'll take these two rows from our mod, and it'll take whatever changes the other mod makes and put them together. If you include the entire table, then it will depend on, I believe, your mod load order to determine which tables actually take effect, and that can cause conflicts, because if you have something in here that is referenced in another table, which there is no conflict with, then your game will crash, because it'll be like, hey, where's that value you've overwritten? I can't find it because it's been overwritten. Yeah. All right, so there we have our mod pack in the retail data. We can just go and get that, cut it, copy it as you like, jump back to the data folder where all your pack files for vanilla are, and we'll just paste it in there. You then can make a icon. I've made one already because my skills are elite. It's just a small icon. My one's like 184 by 184 pixels. Save it in PNG format. Name it exactly the same as your mod, and then you can upload it to the game. So before we do that, we want to close out of Bob, we want to close out of assembly kit, and we're going to play the game. It takes a little while to start up on mine. Should start up. It might be because I have that open. Let's try that again. There we go, that's why it was. So you want to make sure your assembly kit's closed and your Bob's closed, because they reference the same files and they lock them up so that other programs can't use them. So you can't be editing a pack whilst you have your assembly kit open or whilst you have the game open. You can't make edits to it if it's in the data, if it's reading from it. Yeah, my launcher always does that. Okay, so then we're going to go to Mod Manager. You'll see your mods here. There's another test mod I made. Now to upload it to the workshop, all you have to do is click this button here. Yep, and you click Update. Test has been successfully uploaded to the workshop. Alright, now you can jump to your mod, go to Content, Workshop Items. There's the icon I made. It's beautiful, isn't it? And then you can come in and edit. All that kind of stuff. I actually did this earlier, so I wouldn't waste time doing it now. Yeah, that is the mod pretty much done. Now, only one thing left to do is to, once you're ready to publish it and let other people use it, click on Public here. Change visibility, Public, and then your mod is uploaded to the Steam Workshop for everyone to use. If you don't want to upload your mod, you don't have to. So I've got another one here. If I want to just play that one, I can just play it. I don't have to upload it to the workshop, but I do have to keep it in my data folder. You'll notice that it doesn't have, I don't have another image in here. I've only got that one. So that one image for the test one we just did now, it shows there, but the other one's just got a default CA image because I haven't actually created a PNG to go for it, for this one here, rank stretch. And that's all there is to, well, that's actually not all there is to modding, but that's a good enough introduction to get you on your way. The best way to learn is to just jump through the pack files and through the assembly kit and explore and see what's available, what can be done, and test and fail and try again and, you know, overcome. And yeah, happy modding. I've got a whole bunch of other tutorials which are based on for modding all sorts of different stuff for older games. These games are all built on the same engine, so they're fairly similar. You can probably get a general idea of how to do what you want to do if I've got a tutorial for it already. I've got about 50-60 tutorials, so feel free to have a look at them to yeah, if you get stuck and you want to learn how to do something. Happy modding, guys.